Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shayla, but you can call me Chae, and today I'm going to be sharing with you all what I eat in a week, lunch edition. So the first thing that I'm going to be making is a kind of spring roll, egg roll type of thing. Yeah, so I'm starting off by prepping my vegetables. I just shredded off about maybe a third of a carrot, and then I'm cutting up about a little less than half of an onion as well. I'm also going to be cutting up a little bit of cabbage, and then I cut up some garlic as well. So here I have all my veggies ready to go. Now I'm going to prep my protein. So I'm going to be using tofu today. I took about half a block of some firm tofu and I'm just crushing it up until it gets to kind of like almost a ground beef type texture, and I'm adding in some soy sauce. I went ahead and mixed that in, and then next I'm also going to add in some rice vinegar. Once I mix that in, I'm going to go ahead and add some salt and pepper, as well as some garlic powder, some crushed red pepper, and then lastly I'm adding in some light brown sugar. And that is going to finish my protein. So I mixed it all together and now I'm ready to start cooking. I also added in some ginger, which I forgot, as you guys can see, which is why this is the last clip, but yeah. So I cut up some ginger as well, and now I'm prepping my pan with some olive oil and vegan butter mixed together, and I'm going to put in my veggies first all at the same time and just kind of cook them down until they get to a nice color. I'm adding in some seasonings, basically the same seasonings I use on my tofu except without the brown sugar. And now at this point I'm going in and I'm putting in my tofu, and I'm just going to get that well incorporated into the veggies. And I'm going to let that cook down for a few minutes. And I also added in some soy sauce. Around this time you should probably be tasting it just to, see if it's giving what you want it to give. And then you can, add in some more salt, pepper, whatever you need if you need that. And now I'm going to start actually rolling my rolls. So I'm using rice paper, which is why I was kind of confused as to what to call them, because this isn't really egg roll paper, but these aren't like Vietnamese spring rolls. So y'all let me know what y'all would consider these. But yeah, so I just put the rice paper in some water for a little bit, sit it on my cutting board and dry it off with my paper towel just so it's not like water in the roll. And then I put my filling at the very end. I roll the paper over top of the filling, fold the sides in, and then roll it up. As you guys can see, I'm sure it's better explained just by looking at it than what I'm saying, so I'll just let you guys watch. In total, I made about 4 this time. You can make more if you made them smaller, or less if you made them bigger, but if you make them bigger, you probably have to double wrap them just so your rice paper doesn't break when you actually start to cook them. So now I'm taking some olive oil and I'm just kind of rolling them in there a little bit and getting it all on the outside of the roll just to make sure it doesn't stick to my air fryer, because I'm going to be air frying these. If you were putting these in a deep fryer or pan frying them, you wouldn't have to do that. Now I'm spraying my air fryer with some non-stick spray, and I'm just laying them in there, making sure they're not touching so they don't get stuck together. And I'm going to put these in for about 10 minutes on 400, and I'm just going to kind of shake them up halfway through. And now this is what they look like when they're out of the air fryer. And here is the finished product. They're super good. I like to pair them with some olive oil, rice vinegar, brown sugar, garlic, and crushed red pepper as a little dip. And yeah, it's just really good. So that was my lunch for Monday. Try it out. Alright, so let's get into Tuesday's lunch. So on Tuesday, I decided to make some fresh tomato soup with some cornbread from scratch. So I'm going to start by making the cornbread. I'm starting with my wet ingredients, which is going to be a cup of soy milk, a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, a 1/3 cup of sugar, and another 1/3 cup of oil. And I'm going to mix those all together, and now I'm going into my dry ingredients. So for the dry, I'm taking a cup of yellow cornmeal, a cup of flour, a tablespoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that's going to be it for my dry mixture. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix that up and then incorporate the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients gradually until it becomes a nice batter. So you could stop here because this is a cornbread batter, but my mom always put corn in the cornbread growing up, so I decided to add some roasted corn that I just roasted in the toaster oven, and that's gonna make my finished batter. So now I'm just taking a cast iron skillet and spraying it with some non-stick spray, and I'm gonna pour my batter into here and spread it out evenly. And I'm gonna put these into the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes, somewhere around there. You know when it's ready if you stick a fork or a toothpick in it and it comes out without any of the batter being on it. Now let's get into the soup. So I'm cutting up some onion and some tomato. It's honestly all very, like, none of it is very uniform. I'm just kind of chopping things up and throwing them into this pan because it doesn't really matter how it looks. So I'm throwing in some tomato, some onion, some cherry tomatoes, some chopped garlic. And I'm also throwing in some sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil because I feel like I just like the zestiness that the sun-dried tomatoes gives it. And then I'm also pouring in some extra olive oil. And then I'm seasoning it with some salt and pepper, some crushed red pepper, and lastly some Italian seasoning, oregano or basil, anything like that will do. And now it is done. It went in the oven at 400 as well for like maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm putting it in the blender so I can blend it up into a soup. Now, y'all, don't be like me in this situation. Do not blend it when it is hot. Let it cool down and then blend it, because if you don't, it's going to explode if you have a bullet or a small blender like this. You'll see in a minute. It exploded all over the counter. I was so disappointed. I wanted to cry, but luckily, thank God, I had more of the tomatoes left so I could blend up more. But yeah, don't try to blend it while it's hot. Just don't do it. All right, so now I took what was left of my tomato soup and I poured it into a bowl, and I have my cornbread on the side. This is super good, it's super quick and easy, and it tastes really good. So yeah, that was my meal for Tuesday, my lunch. I hope you guys try it out. All right, so now let's get into Wednesday. Wednesday was kind of like a thrown together type of meal just with whatever I had in the house. So I decided to make some tofu bites and a simple kale salad. So I cut up some firm tofu into some cubes, and I'm seasoning it with some Worcestershire sauce, some crushed red pepper, some black pepper, some garlic powder, some seasoned salt, and some Old Bay as well. And I like to season them in half just to make sure everything gets nice and evenly coated. And then I just shake it up and I let it sit and marinate for a bit while I make my salad. So for my salad, honestly, y'all, I did not have that many salad ingredients. So this salad is about to be dry. Don't expect much. Yeah, just don't think about it. But I cut up some bok choy, and I also cut up some kale. And I'm basically just taking all the big stems out of the kale right now, and I put them together and I'm just washing them off. And then after they were clean, I went ahead and chopped them because I like my salads chopped. I don't like big leaves when I'm trying to eat my salad, so I chopped it up. And now I'm going in and putting in some salt, and I'm also putting in some lime juice, and I'm going to massage my greens because this kind of helps the flavors to get incorporated and also to break down the greens so they're not super hard when you're trying to eat them, because kale can be a little tough to chew. So make sure you massage your greens. Now back to the tofu. So I'm putting some flour in a container along with some panko breadcrumbs. I'm also seasoning it with some seasoned salt and some Old Bay. If y'all have seen my cooking videos before, then y'all know I like to season my food down. So if you don't like to season that much, that's fine. So now I'm taking my tofu and I'm putting it in the flour mixture and getting it nice and evenly coated. Now here I have my pan. It has some oil in it and some butter, and I'm just letting them fry for a bit. And I like to also turn them over halfway through. I couldn't really tell you how long I cooked these because I'm honestly not sure. I just cooked them until they get the color that I like them to have, and I flip them over halfway through, and this is what they look like when they're at the color that I like them to be. So yeah, here they are on my plate. They're super good. They're nice and crispy. They give you kind of like a nugget type of feel. And I have my salad. I just added some tomato. Y'all, this salad looks so dry. I know it's literally nothing in here because I didn't have any salad ingredients, but look, it got the job done. So yeah, this was my lunch for Wednesday. It was also really good. I put some buffalo sauce on the side, and yeah, try it out. All right, y'all, so now it's actually Friday because I just didn't get around to eating lunch on Thursday. It just be like that sometimes. So we're skipping to Friday, and I'm going to be making some soup again. This is like a ready to make soup kit that my mom gets from the Asian market near my house, and it's super good. So I'm just going to follow the instructions that come on the packet for the most part, and I'm going to start by prepping my veggies. So I'm going to be taking some bok choy, and I'm just going through and getting all the stems out right now. Next, I'm also going to be chopping up some kale. And then I'm also going to be putting in some mushroom just for, you know, a little bit more sustenance, just to fill me up a little bit more. I'm boiling my water now, and I added some extra vegetable stock because they don't want you to add much water, and I just been needing a little bit more than they say on the packet. So I added some vegetable stock, and I put the sauce that it comes with into the pot and mixed it up. The sauce is actually kind of spicy, so I think it's cool to water it down with a little bit of vegetable stock, but just a little bit, not too much. And so I let that come to a boil, and now I'm adding in my veggies, but only my mushroom and the tofu actually, because I don't want to add in the greens too early because I don't want them to get too soft. I'm gonna keep some of that crunch. So here I have my mushroom and tofu cooked down. The tofu actually comes with the pack, so that's super cool. I added in my kale and bok choy around like the last 2 minutes that it was cooking, and this is pretty much it. Like, it's super easy to make. So now I have my finished soup. I just put it in a bowl, and I added some oyster crackers around it just to have on the side. And yeah, it's super good, super easy to make, and I would definitely recommend it if you have it in your local Asian market. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know how you felt or what recipe was your favorite. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.